Do you think what Tanya did in Casa Amor was wrong?
Yeah. But I think, no, listen.
The reason why I sort of stand with Tanya...
Girl, if you don't.
Don't get me wrong, I actually love Jessie. I feel very sorry for her, but we get the tears every episode.
Do we? Have you seen a trickle? Have you seen a trickle?
An actual H2O.
They have very much been dry.
The biggest storyline from movie night was about Olivia and Ron. After you've just shown 12 couples all cheating on each other vigorously, the biggest thing was, I can't believe Ron did that to me as a friend.
When you say it out loud, it sounds hilarious.
Hello, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Sunburn, which, if you don't know, is the show where every Sunday we recap everything that's been going on in the Love Island Villa, South Africa, Winter Season 9. And this week, our guest is none other than Love Island debrief queen, Sarah! Yay! How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here.
Same. I'm so excited to have you on because I feel like we are the two resident Love Island loudmouths.
Yes.
And we've got a lot to say about everyone and everything.
Lots of opinions. Lots of opinions.
I want to ask how you've been finding the season so far.
Season thus far, it began really good. Mm-hmm. We were off to a great start. There was motion on the track.
There was.
And then a couple of people came off the train and it was like, now it's like a slow pull. But I think we can bring it back.
Yeah, it's a delayed train.
Exactly. It's a delayed.
Not cancelled, it's delayed.
Exactly. That's exactly how it feels at the moment. So,
but what my issue with it right now is that it's been the same episode for about 2 weeks. The first few weeks we were chopping and changing. Mm-hmm. People were going left, right and centre. Mm-hmm. They didn't, you could have been like Queen Elizabeth back from Earth, like walking into the villa and then be like, you're done, babe. Sorry, you've got to go. Yeah. And now they're holding on to everyone like they're so precious. Like, we need to keep this moving.
Do we have bed space anymore? That's my concern. Like, are we going to have to drain the pool and put people... what's happening?
Literally, because I swear that all the downstairs are already being used. And now we've got more people coming in. They need to take a breather, reevaluate the situation and open a public villa.
Today.
Right now. Okay, we need to get into the Casa Amor fallout. So, we left off last episode with the Casa Amor recoupling. Mm-hmm. And I want to get into the way that everybody's trying to win their partners back because let me tell you, they are lame and corny. Starting off with Tom, who wrote a poem.
Oh, get a grip. I will never forgive Millie and Liam for giving us this bloody poem idea because, and it was bad.
It was.
Good.
So he tried to win back Sammy by reading her a poem because he says he's never written a poem before. I don't think the boy's ever written anything, bless him.
Bless his soul. But anyways.
He wrote a poem. Uh-huh. It was enough for Sammy. I mean, the bar's on the floor, but I often find with Love Island, there's something in that villa where the bar is on the floor. Last year, India and Dami, God bless them. I'm glad they stuck together because they're a beautiful couple.
Yeah.
I think he maybe made her breakfast and she was like, girls, like, he's done it for me. Like,
he crushed some avocado. It's love.
There is something about the Love Island air where it's just the bar is on the floor. I mean, I guess there's not really much you can do
I
in
think
there.
That's what
and
it
you've got
is.
to either get on with it. Like, you're just put in a position where it's like you've either got to forgive or forget. And then if you're going to move on, and there's no one new coming in,
that's it.
What are you going to do with your
difficult.
days? Like in a bit of a tricky situation.
And I feel like a girl like Sammy that's why she's so frustrated with herself, because she's like, on the outside world, you'd be done. There'd be no like do-over, like you'd be finished. But the fact that we're in this confined space together, I kind of have to see you all the time. I'm kind of missing you now. Like, I think that's why that poem won her over, because it was not giving.
Because you talked about Millie and Liam. Not only have they done that for the poem, they have also just given the right for every man to just up at Casa and they know that they can come back and still win.
I think now this is like the blueprint where guys are like, lads, holiday, and then they come back and they're like, I'm so sorry.
And they're like, it's a journey. We're going on a journey. Yeah.
I've learnt my lesson. It was a test. So you had to lips everyone in the villa to know it was a test. Don't piss me off.
That is one thing that I will never get on Love Island, when they're like, I had to do it to like know how much I liked you. Or even when Ron was like, I had to go through three girls. Do you know how embarrassing? Does Lana have no shame? Stand up, Lana, stand up.
No, Lana actually, I feel so sorry for it because I'm like, babe, arise immediately. Because what? 3 girls? And that video was like, I had to go through 3 girls to know that I really liked her.
Like as if it was a normal thing.
That's the norm. That's what we all do, apparently. Yeah, love that for us.
I couldn't, oh my God, I'm sorry. I need to not speak about Lana and Ron too much because it cringes me out. Will, he got them all to line up.
Okay.
By the pool.
Okay.
And read out a thing that they all loved. That he loved about Jessie.
Yeah.
So he could say that he loved her.
I won't lie to you. This kind of won me over. I know. And you know, the thing is, being a simp is actually one of my biggest problems, and I'm in therapy about it, because honestly, it's so bad. It was like the bare minimum, but I think it was like the way they like all lined up and they were shouting. Oh, it was bad, but it was good.
Really?
I know. I'm ashamed. I know.
Cringed me out more than Tom.
Really? More than the poem?
Yeah.
That rhymes?
Yeah.
I mean,
I was just like, oh, I'd be so embarrassed. Oh, I'd be like, get me down from this terrace. Like,
okay.
You could have done this over email, text, WhatsApp. Like, we did not need to get all our friends lined up to say this.
I think that's the only thing about like a public declaration, because you're putting me in a position where I can't actually be like, ew, what did you do that for? Like,
right.
She kind of had to be like, oh, thank you, thanks, I guess.
Especially when it's on national. It's not even just a public declaration. It's a public declaration to millions of people.
Exactly. So she kind of just was like, not put in the best of positions. However, she would have said regardless. She would have said yes.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah. So you're saying between Will and Tom's approach, you would have preferred Will's?
I mean...
It's okay to say yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you're forcing me to pick one, then yeah, sure. But yeah.
You know what? Now I think about it, maybe I would prefer Will's. I thought I would prefer Tom's, but actually I think there's something more cringeworthy about a one-to-one intimate, like...
That's it.
Oh, no one else can hear this. Oh, you've just thought of this all yourself. Like, at least with, I can like, kind of laugh. Like, my girls are down there like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, if Tom came and sat me down being like, I love your hair. I love your smile.
And your accent. And it's like, what? What's going on, Tom? Tom, can I speak to you for a second? Because what's happening?
Let me put you for a chat.
just for a sec.
And obviously, we can't talk about Casa Amor trifling without our trifling Tanya.
Oh my God.
Do you think what Tanya did in Casa Amor was wrong?
Yeah. But I think, no, listen, I think Tanya's sins began before Casa Amor. And this is my thing.
When?
Okay, listen. When someone is younger and in the moment, you say things that you don't necessarily mean. Tanya does not love that man.
No, 1,000%.
Tanya does not. Tanya doesn't even think she loves it. I don't think Shaq loves Tanya, but I think Shaq thinks he loves Tanya.
Yeah.
Which I'll take. Tanya knows she doesn't love Shaq. Mm-hmm. So then to say I love you, weren't they exclusive?
I don't think they were exclusive. I think the whole thing was that they said they loved each other, but they never agreed to be exclusive. But it was the sort of thing where it's like, if you say I love you, we're assuming it's exclusive.
Okay. She goes to Casa. And the flirting was heavy. It wasn't even like, I'm trying to get to know him. Don't do the fight! The fight! Oh! I actually want the ground to swallow me up.
The flirting was heavy.
It was heavy.
Yeah.
That bite was, and even like tasting the Martin soup and then she comes back, we kissed, or Martin kissed me. She downplayed that.
Yeah, she did.
Heavily. Even to the girls.
Yeah.
Right? So now I'm like, it's one thing after another. And I agree, like, if you're going to tell me something, just tell me everything brutally. I can get over it. She's like peeling back bit by bit. And then she gets caught in 4K and she's like, I told you all of this. And it was like, oh my God. I'm trying here. I'm trying.
The reason why I sort of stand with Tanya about what she did in Casa Amor is that she said I love you, but they never agreed to be boyfriend and girlfriend. They never agreed to be exclusive. There is that
girl, if you don't,
there's that blind spot. There's that, what's that, like a preliminary space,
that like grey area
where it's like, oh, I want to stand with her because she's fighting for what men have done on the show for 8 seasons.
No, I will agree with that though. There is a part of me that's like, low key, suffragettes. Yeah. This is what they stood for. Low key, this is feminism 101. Because the men have done it for many, many seasons.
Also, do you know what I'm so obsessed with? The men all had to come back, write poems, stand on the things. Tanya just ignored Shaq, and Shaq was like, you can speak to me, by the way. Like, she did nothing and won him back.
Oh my God. And then when she tried to get him back, she like embarrasses Martin in the
Right.
boat.
I want to speak about this. So Tanya and Shaq had their secret kiss in the night, which I was a bit like, oh.
Okay, secret kiss.
I was kind of living for it. I was like, wait, all of a sudden I'm back on Tanya and Shaq train. Like, this was
I was like,
cute.
oh, I'm buying this.
And Twitter were like, it's not giving what they think it's giving. It gave to me.
No, it really did.
It really gave to me.
It gave.
Then she went and did her public declaration
Yes.
in front of everyone.
Yes.
Which they all thought was lovely, apart from Martin. Because
Understandable.
she then decided to reveal in front of Martin at that point that they shared a kiss. I feel sorry for Martin.
Okay.
Because I'm like, oh, bless you. But also at the same time, I don't think Martin ever liked Tanya that much. I think Martin saw that Tanya was an easy way into the villa.
Boom.
And I now think Martin's trying to make a big deal out of it just to get a public reaction and to get people on his side. Point blank period, case closed.
You nailed it on the head. And true truths can exist at the same time because I'm not denying that he wasn't embarrassed and it doesn't feel great
Anyone
to be
would
in that.
Even if you didn't like that person, it's still embarrassing.
But like, he didn't like her that much anyway.
And
you know?
As Tanya said, she was like, it's only been a few days. I brought you back from Casa Amor, not because I wanted to be exclusive with you. I brought you back from Casa Amor because I didn't want to let go of what I had with you yet. Yeah. But I also didn't want, like, she was like, I never committed to being with you when we got back. Yeah. Which I was like, fair point. And she's done enough for him. She's given, those poor Casa Amor boys have already, I can't even name you anyone who didn't make it in that villa. At least we're remembering your name, Martin. Come on, you've got to give props to
He's now a meme. Like, you will live on for a couple, like, you're
They'll
good.
be using that Love Island 12. They'll be using that popcorn meme.
Exactly. Like, yeah, she's done a lot for you. Let's give her some thanks, you ungrateful sod.
The other thing that made me cringe so much was when they revealed the kiss. And then Martin went over and he was like to Olivia and, God, I cannot even, there's too many of them. Maxwell.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to cause some drama. And I was like, don't say it. Like, just do it if you're going to do it.
As a man, why are you doing that? Like, I honestly was like, what is this? Is this Mean Girls? Regina, I'm going to cause some drama. And then Maxwell was like, go cause it. Ew, guys. Ew.
What happened to men doing like wood chop? And like,
go and fight in a war. Like, I promise you there's many things to do. This is not the thing for you to do. Like, I was just like, this is...
It was cringe. And I was like, it doesn't make it fun or funny if you're announcing it. Because now it just comes across as calculative and not that funny.
Exactly.
Like, I would have really enjoyed it if he was just like, you know what, and got over and was like, Tanya.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
But you've now pre-warned me that something's going to happen. And then it wasn't even that good anyway because Tanya shut you down instantly.
When I say the girl is so good, her rebuttals.
Oh, she's good.
She's like playing tennis with them in there. Back, forth, back. Like,
and it's her soft Liverpudlian accent that does it. She's like, don't call me a liar.
Yeah. She's like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That is another thing that I'll have to say for Tanya is a lot of the time, I think on Love Island, the girls can sometimes fall at the hands of the men because the men are very manipulative on that show and very gaslighting. Yeah. Tanya is standing 10 toes down on anything that she does in there. Yeah. And she's not questioned herself once. She has never once gone, oh, am I the problem? And I have to applaud that. Like,
there is a level of delusion that I have to applaud because, you know, it's something that people will study for years to come.
Literally.
But yeah, she has beaten the men at their own game.
And I have to, like...
And there's times where I'm like, oh God, it's gone too far. Like, it's too manipulative. Like, it's like I feel for Shaq. But then there's times I'm like,
And there's 100%, there's a thing for me where I'm like, oh, if she was a boy, I would have such an issue with this right now. I'd be calling her out on Twitter. I'd be saying all this, like the double standards is very bad. And I was coming for people like Luca. I was coming for Luca last year. And all that. Although Luca, I think, was far worse than Tanya. But people who have done worse in the male species on Love Island, I have called out. And I'm hesitant to call out Tanya because I have a soft spot for her.
I feel like, and this is the thing, don't get me wrong, I know prejudice exists and double standards exist, but like, I also feel like it's not a man saying it. Yeah. So like, we have to like take that nuance. Like, if it was a man, it'd be totally different because of everything that like men do, but it's a woman saying it. I'm not saying it makes it any better, it's just different. You know, so people are reacting to it differently. I don't agree with her.
No, I don't agree with the actions that she is doing.
But I think there is something so like refreshing to see when a woman is kind of like very strong, able to stand her own ground, can go back and forth with anyone. No one actually really comes for Tanya. No. Like, and she shuts you down immediately. Like, she's like, I'm not having this. Even when she went over to Martin, she was like, there's no beef. I'm just going to tell him what I think, and walked off. And I was like, damn. That's a power move and a half.
So speaking of Martin, I want to speak about the game they played where they had to write the names on the board.
Yes.
They all came for Martin, which was very strange to me considering Maxwell was there the same amount of time and they were all like, don't know you, Martin, I'm sorry. I'm like, Maxwell's right there.
Yeah. For me, what it said was that Martin isn't being as genuine.
Yes.
And they're maybe catching on to that fact. Because Martin's like, oh, I was giving Tanya space, but I think it's reading as like, I wasn't never interested in Tanya.
I wasn't.
Which,
it's probably true.
There might not be a lie there. So I think maybe they're catching on to that. But I do agree, like, it just kind of felt like everyone was on him.
It's like someone could have said someone else as a joke or something, like just to make it a bit less awkward. The other thing that people got annoyed in the villa about was Casey picked Lana as someone who he would be coupled up with other than Claudia. And Claudia got all in her feelings being like, well, that makes me feel like if Lana chose him, he would have never gone for me. Well, duh.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of you coming in.
Yeah. Because he was moping like a child for days when Lana left him. Yeah, like, you are.
Duh, that's very obvious.
Claudia's she is also someone who's sipping on the delusional soup.
Yes.
And, fab, great girl, I guess. But like, it's just like, what do you want? Even the whole like being angry at Casey at Casa.
There's something which I'm finding hard to warm to Claudia to. I don't know if it's because they just don't show her enough. And every time they never, you know how we get a lot of like Lana and we get a lot of Sammy, like having like fun conversations.
Regular,
and gossiping and doing jokes. I feel like the only time we see Claudia is when she has an issue with something.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the reason I'm having an issue to warm to her, but there's something about her which I'm just like, oh, is this necessary? Like when she laughed when Cynthia was crying, having an issue over this Lana thing. I think she told someone to like shush once in a conversation. It's just like...
I personally think she's had many opportunities to show her fun side, but every time she's failing because I feel like she's a bit of a beg for Olivia, in my personal opinion. Like, there was one episode, I don't know what happened, and she was like clapping her hands like a seal, and I was like, Claudia, please, have some decorum, like, gosh, please. But like, I feel like, and this is the thing, it's all editing, isn't it? Like,
yeah, exactly.
You're kind of on the back foot when you go into it, but yeah, I'm the same. I'm not fully warming up to her.
Yeah, and speaking of Olivia got annoyed in the game because Kai and Olivia picked each other as the least genuine. And do you know what was driving me insane? Is that they kept saying the word disgenuine. I was like, that is not a word. They kept being like, well, you call me disgenuine. I never said you were disgenuine. It's not a word. Like, can we at least, like, you're a teacher, Kai. No. You are a teacher. And you are saying that she's disgenuine. Like, it was driving me crazy.
In Kai's defense, I just feel like he has had enough.
Yeah.
That episode was exhausting.
Oh my God.
I was like, I am at my wit's end.
Literally.
When he threw that toast on the floor, I was like, this is literally how I feel currently. Like, it was exhausting because every 10 to 15 minutes, she's talking about the same thing.
Yes.
And it's like...
It started with Kai recoupling at Casa and not meaning what he said when she also recoupled, whatever. Then it moved on to Kai picking her in a game for not being genuine, which kind of made sense because you recoupled. Yeah. Like, it makes... And then had to go at him for doing... And you also brought up the public vote. Like, it's making sense that he's voting you. Yeah. And then had an issue with that. It's like, move on.
And then had an issue that he picked Claudia.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I'd rather you just pick me. But you just had an issue with me picking... Like, it just made no sense. That whole conversation, and Kai, bless him, he's like, he doesn't want drama. He's trying to be really out of it. And Olivia says, like, I don't want drama. I'm a drama-free gal. I love peace. Yet instantly is like, actually, can I put you for a chat? One more thing.
I think it comes from a lot of where it stems from is Kai also recoupling as well as her and her not being picked. And she needs this validation of being picked, and she needed to be the one that ended it. Yes. And it's the fact that he also ended it. Yes. She is like, I need my one up before I move on from this. Yes. I need to come away from the situation being like, ha, told you so. Like, I'm the one that's in the right. I have this one up. Which she's not going to get. Like, so she just needs to make peace with it mentally, physically, and move on with her life in the villa.
Yeah. Like,
because if I was Maxwell, I'd be like, this girl's driving me insane. I'm so put off from her, which I think he
100%.
might starting to be.
I think he is.
I get the vibe that he's very much like.
But this is the general trajectory for Olivia. Like, at around this point, most guys she's been coupled up with are like, time to go.
Yeah.
Exit plan. Yeah. Where's the fire exit door? I'm out of here.
And
like
what she said in her intro when she was like, I've never had a boyfriend before, it's starting to make sense. Not in like a nasty way, but like I can understand now how tiring it might be for someone to not make it past the talking stage.
And I feel like Olivia needs to do a lot of like personal, like, she just has like self-worth, insecurities that are like very clear. And I think if she works on those and just becomes okay with the fact that if I don't get picked, it's not the end of the world.
It's not a me problem.
Exactly. It's a you thing. I'm very enough. Like, I think that's her main issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, around about this point, most guys are like, time to hit the road.
And I think with Olivia, she takes everything very personally. She takes everything as like, oh, so you had an issue with me. Oh, so I was the problem. Oh, even with like Zara, like it was like, oh, so you've come in to steal my man.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've been coupled to hurt me.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as she understands that, oh, this is a two-way street. Like, it's just not worked between the two of us. That's fine. She will be able to move on with her life and get on with things.
And also, it's very okay for somebody to like you or not to like you while you like them.
Yeah.
That's also very okay. Like, doesn't make you a terrible person.
Yeah.
Like, you don't like me as much as I like you. Fine, call it quits. It is what it is. I'm still okay. Like, I feel like she kind of doesn't want to be embarrassed. She don't, like, it's just, and I do feel for her because I think we've all kind of been there at some
100%.
point. You know,
we've just not done it on TV.
Exactly. So I do feel for her, like it is a lot, especially when it's like the recurring thing over and over again. And imagine this is probably her dating experience condensed into like a 6-week period. Like, that's a lot for someone to take. But also, that's the whole point of the show, because I think you can have like a really good personal arc and journey and development, and she's just not allowing herself to do that. And
I will say, I have to thank her for at least providing storylines.
Yes.
We can at least thank her for that.
Sure.
Movie night came. It all seems a bit forced, this year's movie night. It all very much felt like, oh, this is being shown in movie night, so I should be angry at this, because why would they show me this if I wouldn't be angry at it? There seems to be no common sense being played. There seems to be no, hang on a minute, this conversation was from week 1. We're now in week 6. This doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
It's very much like, the producers are showing me it, so I should be angry, so I'm going to make a scene.
And also a case of like, I've done something wrong, but I'm going to be louder and angrier, and then no one's going to remember that I did anything wrong, so like it was forced.
And most of the things they show, I was like, this is nowhere near as bad as other movie nights. Like, the only people who I think you should have had an issue with what they did was Liv talking behind the girls' backs.
Yeah, which they didn't mention, but okay.
We'll move on. Maybe Tanya sort of downplaying the whole her and Martin thing. She did sort of say what happened, but I can kind of see how it might be a bit more painful for Shaq to watch it because they said, I love you. Let's not do the bite. And the only other person who I think could slightly have an issue is Sammy, because Tom kissed her in bed and asked her to sleep in bed, and he categorically was like, I just kissed her once on the terrace. Yeah. And it came out that he was cuddling her and kissing her in bed, which I do sometimes think that people make a big deal out of Casa Amor than it's like, girl, come on. However, I do agree that kissing someone on a terrace or in a challenge is very different to kissing someone in bed and cuddling and snuggling under covers. Yeah. Those are the only 3 which I'm like, okay, yeah, that piece of information was missed out, or that was something. Like, Claudia and Casey, move on. You guys knew each other for 3 days. The other thing, Jesse and Will, I don't think Will was showing to do was not that far off from anything he told Jesse. I don't think there's any reasons there for anyone else to be angry.
I disagree.
Really?
Will's was bad.
I didn't think Will's was that bad.
Watching it back, I had my butt clenched the whole time, because I was like, this is the worst thing ever. Like, and I think what's worse is like, it's one thing to say like, we did this and we did that, but to hear the guy you're like, I love you to, being like, oh, naughty. And you know how Will talks as well. It was just like, ugh. I thought it was bad, but I do agree, like, a lot of them had a heads up of like, listen, we weren't angels at Casa, and this is what's happened, but we need to learn to move on. But like, yeah.
The thing is, the format is now so predictable.
Yes.
That these boys know that they can go in, cheat at Casa.
Yeah.
Movie night is coming, so they just need to confess their like sins because they know no bombshells are going to come in for a week or two, so the girls have no choice but to stick with it. And then when movie night comes on, it's like, well, I did tell you.
Yeah.
And you chose to stay, so you can't really be angry.
Yeah. They kind of know the formula
They
now.
need to shake something up.
Which is why Tanya's approach, unhinged as it may be, as unhinged as it may be, is quite refreshing to watch because you're like, how are you standing 10 toes down? Like, shouting across the table.
Yes.
And she was like, do you have a problem with me? Is there anything you want to say? Tanya, babe, why are you defensive? Like, you are so in the wrong, it's not even funny.
Do you think it is the actual end for Tanya and Shaq now? Because at the end of the episode, Shaq was outside. He was like, I'm done. And Tanya was crying like, if he's done with it, just leave it. Like, I'm done with it. I think they will get back together. They have no choice. I'm sorry.
Unless Shaq leaves the villa, they are staying together.
I agree. I think a lot of them this year are very switched on that it's like,
oh yeah,
if I stick with who I was from the start, and this is the most likely formula to winning.
Case in point, Ron.
Right.
Like, he was like, I read the books.
Yeah, I've studied. I've done my homework.
I know what I'm doing. What are you guys here for? I'm here for the brand deals, baby. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing. So I do agree, but I don't think, I think also Shaq is just really, he's very captivated by Tanya.
Yes, yeah. I think his feelings are real.
I think he's just so like in it. Unless he leaves, it's going to be so hard for him to detach himself. But yeah.
Jessie and Will. Jessie at this point either needs to leave it or move on.
True words have never been said.
It's not like it's like a developing thing like Shaq and Tanya where things are coming out. Everything's on the table. Don't get me wrong, I actually love Jessie. I feel very sorry for her, but we get the tears every episode.
Do we? Have you seen a trickle? Have you seen a trickle?
An actual H2O.
They have very much been dry tears. I get the tear and the crying movement, but I get
not the wetness.
There is no H2O. But continue.
I'm just like, it's almost, and I hate to say it, I hate how much I'm siding with the men this year. It makes me feel sick. But it's almost making me feel bad for Will at this point because it's like, what more can he do? You can't keep holding him against it. And because in the same breath, you're hanging out with him saying it's okay. And then all of a sudden you'll turn around and be like, wait, I actually don't know.
Yeah.
It's mind messing with him. And then when Will tried to bring up that point, she was like, so you're giving me an ultimatum.
Yeah.
So now, and it's like, oh, I don't know. I do slightly think that she maybe wasn't okay with everything, but the whole public declaration thing pressured her into a little bit being like, yeah, it's fine. I can't really say no right now.
Yeah.
And now we're unpacking what that has sort of meant.
Yeah.
But she's either got to leave it or move on.
I think the thing is as well, Will is saying all the right things. He's not doing a Tanya. He's literally like, you need time to process. I'm sorry. I won't stop saying sorry. Like, this is something that's broken the trust. Like, he's saying all the right things. So for her to then be going back to that issue, it's almost unfair on him because he's like, I understand that you need the space to get over things, but like, how can you get over something if you keep bringing it up? Like, we have to kind of get past that and then build on the trust. But we just keep talking about the same thing.
And it's one of those things because it is just like me, like, if I have an argument with a partner and they have done something categorically wrong and I'm completely innocent, I want to string it out for a bit long just to get like a little bit of argument's sake going. But when they're saying all the right things, you are then, and it's kind of making me show me how deluded I am because I am Jessie. I am wanting that sort of attention and argument, but they're actually not feeding into that. It's not like Ron or Tanya where they're actually doing something, they keep doing things wrong and you can keep picking at it. It's like, he's actually sort of recovering it quite well.
Like, and he's just walking around like a lost puppy. Like, he doesn't really know how to handle it. Like, I do feel for him. Obviously, messed up completely. But, like, he's trying on the back end to make up for it. Yeah. But this is why I don't take back men who cheat. Because why are we having HR meetings every single episode talking backwards about, like, what are we doing right now? Like, please don't make me do this. Like, we have to move on.
And in the bizarrest turn of events, the biggest storyline from movie night was about Olivia and Ron. Who would have guessed it? In a show about love, and after you've just shown 12 couples all cheating on each other vigorously, the biggest thing was, I can't believe Ron did that to me as a friend.
When you say it out loud, it sounds hilarious.
Right? So Olivia had an issue because Ron was encouraging Kai to try, move on with someone else. So much so that she thought it was the biggest thing, that when all the girls sat down to debrief and discuss and just watch all these boys and all of their men cheat, she was like, the elephant in the room is obviously me and Ron.
Obviously me and Ron. That's the thing that we must discuss. It was, yeah.
And you know what? I'm mad at Olivia for making me feel sympathy for Ron. Because why should I be feeling like, oh, but Ron's not done anything wrong, bless Ron. I should have never, based off of his actions, I should have never felt like this whole series. No. And this is all Olivia's fault.
Olivia has made me a Kai fan, and she has made me forgive Ron.
Shocking what she can do. We have to give her credit.
The power that woman holds. I was like, I don't know how we've got here, but here we are.
And I have to applaud her for that, because not many people could actually get that out of me.
No.
I have to say, that is an impressive trait. Also, I don't know if you clocked, but what made me laugh even more was elephant in the room, me, and then Tanya goes, second for me. I'm like, girls, the delusion is off the scale. Come on. Poor, Jessie has just seen Will. Sammy Tanya and Olivia well, obviously, we need to discuss us first.
We are the true victims here, so girls, just be quiet, please. You're sniffing a bit loud when I tell my story. It was a lot.
Insane from the both of them, but I absolutely love the both of them for it because it provided us fantastic television.
Lots of entertainment.
Right, before you go, we play a little game here where if you find under the table there is an envelope and a pen.
Oh.
I know, it feels like an ITV1 game show.
Oh my gosh,
Maybe Stephen Mulhern could be hosting. If you open up the envelope, there's a piece of paper. Yes. Very simple task.
Yes.
I'm hoping this week we can get it right. Yes. So write down who you think is going to win. The prediction of the winner.
Oh.
I'm sorry to get your brain cogs
Who I think or who I want?
Who you think. It's going to be a prediction game. We get each guest to do it and we unleash them all.
Who I think is going to win will... Oh, that's difficult, but... Okay.
Write it down in the envelope, seal the envelope, name on the front of the envelope, and hopefully there is no issues this week.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. It's a big responsibility.
Lots of pressure here, guys. Okay. All done.
Write the name on the front.
My name.
So close. Your name.
So close yet so far away.
Fantastic.
Okay. I'm just going to put an X.
Thanks, doll.
That's you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Do I win anything if I'm right?
The prize of being right. The self-fulfillment that you could predict it and you know Love Island so well.
Sure.
You know
I'll take it. Okay.
I'll write that down on a piece of paper.
Love that.
Thank you for coming on. I feel like we've had a lot to say.
Yes.
But it was always going to happen.
Always.
And it's been bloody brilliant.
I loved every second of it.
Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next Sunday for an all-new episode where we discuss everything that's been going on in the villa. Bye!
Cheers.